find something called clipping masks, which you can do with objects, you can do it with text, and it's actually a great way to kind of clean up your design when you've got maybe a bleed or you've got objects that stick off the edge. This is a way that you can hide those things. So first we're going to place an image. Let's see, where is our place? Whoops, I went too far. Object or edit. File place. And then I'm going to pick just a random. You can actually place Photoshop documents in here, and I believe you can place more than one thing at a time even. So I'm going to do people and text. And I just hit, what did I hit? Command or control to get the right picture. Okay, and then I'm going to hit place, and there's the first one, and you see I'm still loaded there, and so I just click for the second one. Okay, so what a mask does, it's similar kind of to what happens in Photoshop, and I'm just going to show you the real basics of this. I have a couple of pictures over here. I have not worked with a gradient with that, but let's try it. So let's do object, and we're going to do arrange, bring to front. So I want this. What you're going to do is put the mask, whatever shape you want as the overall shape, you want to put that on the top, and you put everything you're going to mask behind it. So that's about where I want it, and then I'm going to select both of these things. I'm going to go to object, and down here towards the bottom there's a thing called clipping mask, and I'm going to hit make. And so it just does the outside, didn't really show me the inside of that, so I'm gonna undo that for a second, and I'm going to show you a different shape. Let's do a circle. Oh, I've got, the style is a gradient. Oh, gradient fill, that's okay. Doesn't matter. And then we can click and drag, and it's going to show us the circle on top. Make sure you've got selected everything you want to mask, and make sure your mask shape is on the top. And so then go down to clipping mask again and do make, and there you go. Now you're in a circle, which is kind of a cool little look. Nice clean edges. And then when you select this and you look in your properties panel here, you have two options. You have a clip group, which is the whole thing. So that's dragging all this around. You can change the opacity of it. You can do all this, does it on everything in the clip group. This one over here on the right is where you can edit inside of your clip mask. So if you have that selected and you didn't quite like where you got your photo cropped, you can always go back in and change that. You can also make it smaller if it was not quite right. You can see also how it just like, now I've got nothing on the side, which maybe you want to do something like that where you don't want a full shape, and I mean, that's a possibility. You don't have to do it that way. You could just make that shape and then do the clipping mask over it, but you get the idea. So there's option one. The other thing you can do is you can do a clip mask with text. We're going to click on the type tool, and now I'm going to have to remember exactly. So let's say we're just going to type in the word green. I'm going to select all. I'm going to change this to bold, and I'm also going to make the size a lot bigger, probably bigger than that too. So I'm going to just click and drag. I've got my shift on so it stays in the right proportions. Let's see if I can. So I think we just do click and drag. Might have to change that to outlines first, but let's try it without, because it'd be great if we could continue to change our text. We can. So then we just go to object, clipping mask, and then make. And then we can have this cool text inside there. Whoops. And if we select it and then go to our properties, we can clip on the, look at the clip group or at what's inside it. So one place where this can come in handy, let's say I'm doing a whole layout of a page and I've got my, maybe for some reason I want this to bleed off that side and maybe my green bleeds off that side, but you know how it is when you change, when you save a like export this file out, it like saves all the stuff that's on there. It looks at this page as not the end. This little part of the end will still be on there, and I'm sure some of you have had run into that already. So what should help it is to create a clip mask of the entire thing. So I'm going to take the rectangle tool and I'm going to just draw the shape of my page and do a terrible job at it. Just make it a little bit bigger. Oops. Sheesh. All right, just go down to the bottom. Sometimes it just does not want to cooperate. That's all right. This will be close enough to give you the idea of what I'm doing. I don't know that it doesn't really even matter what color your box is. Just get it to the shape that you want. I'm going to shift and click. I don't want that. This is what I want to be masked. So possibly if I didn't want to delete these things off the side, I would go ahead and mask those too. But I'm just going to mask this page just so you can see how you can get it kind of cropped down to the size that you want. So then we go to object, clipping mask, and make. And so now we've got this nice looking thing. It's still there. I can always go back into this clipping mask, clip on adjust, and I can move that. Oops, it switched back to the clip group. I want the inside, right? It keeps going back. Probably because I've got two things. So I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, click on that. There we go. Now I can drag that around. And so that has a weird clipping mask too on it, doesn't it? So there is a limited space that it gives me inside even that clipping mask. Is that the same there? But that's just the box, the circle that I put it in. So that makes sense. All right, so that is the basics of clipping masks, and you can definitely make more complex backgrounds. You can layer stuff all over. You can create a whole background kind of pattern or whatever, and then you can do a clipping mask over the top, and it'll just cut out what you need, and then you can still go back and edit some of that stuff still. All right, so that's a great tool to know.